Hi, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're watching us. This is Women Entrepreneurs of Europe and Africa, and I'm Princess Adewoyi. I am your host on the English session. And tonight we have two women from Nigeria, Africa. This is awesome. This is the first time I'll be hosting women from Nigeria. So I have with me here, I have Shewa Kiloton. Akiloton, she will present herself to you. She's a wonderful woman. She's a coach. She's a mentor. She's a CEO of wonderful organization. She's into women entrepreneurship. She's a wife. She's a mother. As well, I have Tolulope Aladesomi here tonight. Tolulope Aladesomi is a pastor. She's a pastor's wife. She's an entrepreneur. She's a coach, she's a mentor, she has a crush, We have two wonderful women tonight. So please, it gives me pleasure to have these women. So I would want each of them to introduce themselves to you, starting from Tolu Aladesomi. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for the privilege, my sweet sister. It's a great one. Thank you. So my name is Tolu Aladesomi, all right? I like to say, first of all, that I'm a preacher of the word of God. And then secondly, I like to say that I kind of see myself as a midwife, because everything about me is about babies, first of all, from conception to pregnancy and then to delivery. So I love to see women conceive their babies, physical babies, which is their dreams. So I love to see women conceive their dreams, carry their dreams safely to term, and then deliver their dreams safely, okay? And then also I love to see women conceive their biological babies, to carry them supernaturally to term and to deliver them, okay? So I just kind of see myself as a midwife to women in general. And then I love business. I love business. I've not been able to do it to the magnitude with which I would have loved to, but I love to encourage people in business. So hence the need for, we have a skill acquisition that I had in church. It's called the Bezalel Skill Acquisition Center. So I encourage women, men, everybody, to get involved in business, okay? So that we're not just consumers, we're also producers. And then, of course, we also run a preschool and a creche also. And basically, that's who I am in a nutshell. Yeah, that's not all. That must have been a part of the baby story. So I run an Positive Care Support Foundation. It's an NGO to indigent pregnant women in the rural communities. So we go to the communities to give them information about their health, about to do pregnancy, and safe motherhood, really, just to ensure that they're well informed and they make informed decisions about their pregnancies and about their deliveries. Of course, we also take with us our team, the doctors, everyone in the health profession, the lab sciences, the nurses, they go with us at free antenatal care services. We also give them the kits to be able to and the slavery as well. Yeah.
Wow. Excellent. That was awesome. There is more to you than that, but to come back to you. Okay, Shewa Akiloton, please, can you tell us, are you Akiloton or Akiloton, please?
I want to get the right. Akiloton.
Akiloton, okay, excellent. Okay, Shewa Akiloton, please, can you tell us something about yourself? Everything you want us to know. I know you cannot say everything, but at least what you want us to know about you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon if you are watching me from the United States and across the world. My name is Shewa Akiloton. I'm so pleased to be here today, and I give all the gratitude to Princess Adewoyi for inviting me here on this platform today. I'm looking forward to learning and also sharing. So like I said, my name is Shewa Akiloton. I am an environmentalist, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a mentor, I'm a leader, I'm an author, I am a friend, I'm a sister, I am a daughter, and I'm a child of God. So I have a business called On Point Success, and at On Point Success, what we do is we help entrepreneurs build platforms like websites, and also help them run their marketing ads, and also help them with their branding. And I also have a platform for women entrepreneurs. I have a heart for women, and the platform is called On Point Small Business Success. This is a platform that I started in 2015, and the goal is to help women to succeed in business and prosper in life. So the platform is basically for mentoring women entrepreneurs, and not only in their businesses, but also to lead successful lives. And this has been going on for 6+ years. We've recorded a lot of successes, and I'm really proud of all the women that have passed through our program. Some came and they are still there, some came and passed through, but we've really recorded a lot of successes. I believe so much in the power of entrepreneurship. I believe that God has given each and every one of us something inside of us that is begging for expression. So we can express our skills and gift talents through entrepreneurship. We can also express them through ministry. So what we do at OSBS for short is to nurture women and help them to become the best version of themselves. I'm also a show host. I have a show called the SA Show, and my platform is basically for helping people to maximize their potentials and living their best life. So I am a people developer. I believe in people. I believe that everyone can achieve greatness if they so desire for it. So that's me in a nutshell.
Wow, 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 wow. This is awesome. I'm so super excited because I have two great women in the house tonight, and we're going to have a wonderful time. Okay, Sharon, I've always been a part of On Point, though I'm an inactive member, but of course I've always been following you, and I know you have been doing awesome work, and we have recorded successes in the past few years. I think I joined in 2016 or thereabouts. Okay,
Wow.
so now, yes, yes. So now let's talk about who a woman entrepreneur is to you. I'm going to start with Tolu Aladesomi. How would you define a woman entrepreneur? Who is a woman entrepreneur to you? Some people believe that an entrepreneur must be wealthy, must have money, must have this to start something. And some other people believe that an entrepreneurship is not something you can learn. It's something that must be inborn. For you and to you, what is your own definition of women entrepreneur?
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much for that question, because just now, when Mrs. Akiloton was talking, I was just thinking about the things that she was saying that she does. And I mean, aren't I just so grateful to God for you? Because I just look at that word entrepreneur, and for me, I just feel like I think it's synonymous with empowerment.
Excellent.
Because for me, I feel like everyone should be empowered. But more so, I feel like every woman needs to be empowered. I feel like there's a connection between entrepreneurship and empowerment, in a way that if you see a woman who doesn't have money, let me start from there. It's not just about money, but let me even start with this. If you see a woman who doesn't have money, most likely she won't have a healthy self-esteem. She won't have a healthy self-image. There's going to be something's going to be missing in her life, because I feel like there's something about us that wishes we can be independent. There's something about a woman that wishes she can take care of herself and take care. It's the nurturing nature in a woman that wants to take care of herself and wants to take care of everybody around her. But how do you do that if you're not empowered to do that? So for me, I feel like and that's the reason why oftentimes, I love Ibukwa Awishika very much. And I love her story. I love to listen to her. And I remember that one of the things that she said, that her first exposure to business was through her grandmother. She's never
Wow.
ashamed to say that she started very, very lowly, somewhere in Ibadan, in the interior of Ibadan, very local place like that, where her grandmother used to sell sugar in nylon, petty things. Her grandmother was a petty trader, and she was there helping her grandmother to sell those things. She practically grew up with her grandmother. She was helping her to sell those things. And you see, all of those things coupled together to help who she is today. Now, why was she interested? It's not just her. You will find out that a lot of women started that way. We got interested because we saw our moms sewing. We got interested because we saw her moms, in catering, baking, and doing all of those things. And we just naturally picked it up because there's something in us that wants to not just learn, but that wants to be able to satisfy a need in our lives and in the lives of the people around us. So to answer your question, what is women entrepreneurship? For me, it is empowerment for a woman. Empowerment such that even these days and age where we find a lot of abuse taking place in marriages, I feel like if we have more women empowered, those things would be reduced. I feel like, I think my husband would say something like, it's very difficult for a man to send packing a woman who's bringing food to the table, a woman who's bringing value to his life. It's difficult. I think he has to think twice before he tells her to take her things and leave. So for me, I feel like that's what this is.
Wow. You said a lot. Oh, thank you very much. It's very difficult for a man to send a woman packing if she's adding value. She's bringing something on the table. And I totally agree with you. So, Ms. Akilotan, please, it's over to you. Women entrepreneurship. Your definition, please.
Thank you very much. That's a great question. And thank you, Mrs. Alade Somi, for your input and insights. I greatly appreciate them. So when we're talking about women entrepreneurship, I would like to first and foremost say that entrepreneurship is the same across board. Whether you are a woman or a man, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to break it down into the technical definition of entrepreneurship, and then as if you're a Christian, I'll give you the meaning of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship basically means create. You're creating value in exchange for, being compensated, whether in terms of cash or kind. So you might offer a service to a particular person, right? And that person would say, you know what, when you need XYZ, I will give it to you. So that's kind. And then it can also be used as an exchange for value in terms of cash. So when God created man, he created man with the seeds of greatness, and those seeds of greatness at the time that we were born are dormant, basically. So it now depends on individuals to, tap into that seed and make sure that they are nurturing it, they are growing it. So when it comes to women, I know that the concept of entrepreneurship for women is relatively new, because back in the days you had women have been told that they are nurturers, they are carers, so they stay back home, they take care of the kids while the man works. And then with modernization and industrialization, women are beginning to realize that no, you can't just sit back and raise children only. You have to bring value to the table. And I like what Mr. Alade Somi said about it's very difficult for a man to send packing a woman that is bringing value to the table. And one of the ways that you can bring value is entrepreneurship. At this point, I would also like to note that not everyone will become an entrepreneur, because if everyone becomes an entrepreneur, then who does the other part of the work? So let's say, for example, you start your business, you need an accountant, you need a marketer, you need people to work with you. So not every woman will become an entrepreneur. My own thing is that wherever you find yourself, whether as a career woman, whether you are an entrepreneur, excel, just shine, blossom, do something ordinary, So let people around you know that you are a person of value, such that even when people decide to walk out of your life or you decide to walk out of someone's life, they feel that vacuum. Be a person of value, a person that earns respect in the community. The Bible says that if you know a man that is great in his ways, he is going to stand before the elders, the people that matter. He's not going to stand before ordinary men. So women, definitely, we are nurturers, we are carers, but there's something inside of us that is begging for expression. So this is especially for maybe someone that is watching right now that might not have anything going on for them other than maybe you're staying home, you're taking care of the kids, and that's absolutely fine. As long as you're doing your job well, it's fine. But if God is putting something in your heart, and know that you are beyond what you are currently doing. So there's definitely something inside of you. And the world is so easy these days. You don't have to leave your house to make money, quite frankly. You just have to look in and without, look into your environment, see what value you can bring to the table, see what people are missing, and then try to be the solution to that problem. And you find out that resources will begin to flow your way. And then the more you do it, the better you become. And then people will begin to recognize you as an expert in that field. So basically, entrepreneurship means creation, whether as, let me shock you now, whether as an employee or whether you have your own business, you are still an entrepreneur. Because if you are working for someone, what will make the person not to fire you is the value that you bring to the table, the initiative that you are bringing to the table, the knowledge that you've acquired and you are implementing at work. That makes you a person of value. And as entrepreneurs or even as employees, whatever we find our hands doing, the most important thing is for us to do it exceedingly well.
Excellent. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. This is amazing. There is something I can harmonize between what you've said and what Pastor Tolu said. And that is the fact that bringing something to the table, whether as a wife, your husband cannot pull you off, whether as an employee, as long as you are adding value, nobody wants to do away with something that is bringing value to them. They would like to associate with them, stick to them. And that's the same thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So my next question is this. What are the possible challenges that a woman entrepreneur can encounter in our journey? What are the possible, we are all women. Of course, my story might be different from yours. Your story might be different from mine. But being women, we can have a unified story. We can have something similar in our journey towards entrepreneurship. So can you tell me, I'm going to start with Sheung and then later to Tolu. Please, let's have that.
All right. Thank you for that question. So life is filled with challenges, so is entrepreneurship. But I'll definitely say that entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted, because it is truly, truly hard, except you have parents that have built something that you are now building upon. But if you are that person that, okay, you are just starting from scratch, it's a really challenging thing to do. It's rewarding if you stay put, but it's very challenging. So I will give specific examples of challenges that women face. Top of the list is your marriage. If you are married, especially, if you're married, if you're a single woman, it's hard. But if you are married, I believe that it's harder to be an entrepreneur and manage your business, just because you have that one extra person, or maybe you have kids that you have to cater to, juggling both roles and trying to manage things. It's very, very challenging. Another challenge, of course, is capital. This is a real challenge, but I also believe that if you have the will, if you have the right mindset, you can overcome the challenges of capital. But it's a real challenge. A lot of women are not able to do the things they want to do because they don't have access to capital, which is a real challenge. But it's not something that should stop you in your tracks. You can identify it as a challenge, and then if you have good relationships, which is what a lot of us don't do. We don't build good relationships such that when we need something, we have someone to run to. So if you build good relationships, you should be able to get access to capital. Another challenge that a lot of women have is the fact that they lack a real strategy. And strategy is beyond, oh, I want to start selling bread. I think I should be able to make $2,000 in a month. No, strategy is having a real plan put in place, trying to understand how money will flow in the business, how you will run things in the business. Most women don't like to do strategy. A lot of us like to run our business from our heads, and that is a perfect recipe for failure most times. Now, apart from strategy, another challenge for women entrepreneurs is the failure to be able to scale their business. They don't have the right tools, they don't have the right skill set to be able to scale their business. So XYZ starts selling akara in 2007, but does not have that skill or that technical know-how of moving that business from the local place to maybe the old state to maybe other towns and other countries. So scaling the business is one of the challenges. Personally, I also have challenges in my business, and that is manpower. Human resources is a big challenge for women entrepreneurs, because if you don't have people that are able to run with your vision, there's so much you can do by yourself. So if you don't have access to people, real people that are willing to stick their neck out for you to help you to take that business to the next level, then it's still a child's play. So human resources is a big deal, not through our fault, but a lot of people don't really want to work. They just want to get paid. So to get good people that are willing to go all out is really difficult for women. And that is one of the sources of challenges for women in business. Also, another challenge for women in business is customer acquisition. It's very, very hard to get customers. We have 7 billion people in the world. We have over 1 billion businesses in the world, and everyone is trying to get the same customer. So if you don't have a real strategy, so this goes back to strategy. If you don't have a real strategy of getting those customers, that can be a challenge as well. The good news, however, despite all these challenges that I've listed out, is that there are things that could be solved. If you truly want to find a solution to a problem, the first thing is to identify those problems, list them out, and then try to come up with steps and plans that will help you to solve those problems. If you can't solve it by yourself, then you need to be reaching out to people that have gone ahead of you to help you to solve the problem. Another challenge is also mentoring. Either women don't want to submit themselves to mentoring, or mentors don't want to mentor other women as well. So that could be a big challenge. One of the things that would help a lot of people is the fact that when they get into the market to start a particular business, if they have someone that is holding their hands and telling them that, you know what, I've gone through this path before, these are the mistakes that I made, I don't want you to make that same mistake, and it will help a lot of women. And that's one of the things that we do at On Point Small Business Success. So we help women, we teach them, these are the things that we have done. We don't want you to make similar mistakes. We'd like you to do X, Y, Z. But as the saying goes in Yoruba language would say that "Omo to ba shipa niye ngbe." So you really have to ask for help before you can get help. And I would like to stop here so that Pastor Tolu can chip in our own points as well.
Wow. This is awesome. This is awesome. Okay, so now I'll hand over to Pastor Tolu to tell us some of the possible challenges that women can encounter. If you have more to say, you can add up, please. Pastor Tolu Aladesomi, please, what are the possible challenges? Yes, please.
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, that was really awesome and well said, Mrs. Akinloton. I was actually beginning to think, okay, maybe there may not be anything to add, but I spoke, I just remembered a few of the things that some of our people complain about on Bezalel Skill, at the Bezalel Skill Acquisition Center. You know, I told you that we have a Skill Acquisition Center, and where we also have the management school, because we believe that it's not just about equipping them with the knowledge of the business, but we also needed to equip them with the managerial aspect of the business, which means the accounting skills, the mentoring that she's talking about, and so on and so forth. But basically, I think maybe two things I would like to add on top of my head right now. The first one is she said something about marriage, but I'd like to say marriage in the sense that, because what she said is it's a bit challenging when you're married and, you have to keep your family. I remember when I was running my interior decoration business, my kids were pretty small. I think my older son was like 4, the younger one was like 1. And, when I got one job or the other, at the time, I live in Ibadan. So at the time, there wasn't so many beautiful curtains that I really wanted. So I had to travel to get them and bring them in. And, there were times that I traveled into town back home, 11 p.m., in the evening, 11 p.m., sometimes 12 midnight. And I had to, most of those times I had to run down because of my baby. I knew that it was going to be tough for him to sleep through the night if he didn't see me. And so my husband would encourage me, please just come back home. So those things actually pose a challenge. And I'm grateful to God for the good husband that God has given to me. It's because he's supportive and he understands. So that's the reason why the other challenge would then be a husband that's not supportive would be a challenge. I've often heard women say, not just about entrepreneurship, basically about their dreams, to say, look, my husband is not supporting me about this dream. He's not in agreement with me. He feels I should just sit home, take care of the children. And, that he feels that that's what I should be doing with my life right now. Or that's what he thinks that I should. That's what he thought he married. That's who he thought he married, that his mom was a stay-home mom. So you also have to be a stay-home mom. I mean, I still heard that as recently as a few weeks ago. So these things are very real, where that's the challenge that some women, I don't not say a lot of women, but honestly, quite a number of them that I have met, who are trying to scale up, do stuff with themselves, and yet they just have this husband who is not supportive. He has the capital, but he's not going to lay it down. He has, whatever it is that she could have needed, but he's just not giving it. All right. So we have that. And then the second one right now for me would be maybe location. Though I know people say that it's actually possible to sell ice to an Eskimo.
If you're a good marketer.
That there's some people who can actually sell ice to an Eskimo, but that's not the general thing. It's not everyone that can sell ice to an Eskimo. So therefore, the people who are in certain locations where it feels like they're a bit disadvantaged. Okay, I don't want to mention places, but I know recently someone was speaking to me about a particular place where they had to move there. I mean, look at family again. Her husband got a job there, and then they moved there, and it kind of put a lid on her business. She was into, or she is into children wears, and she said to me, look, it looks like everybody here can't even afford what I sell. So thinking back now, I think that maybe one of the solutions would be to so while it's tough to say you will find your own kind of people, because I know that maybe that's the natural thing to say, maybe that's what people would say, to say, look, you find your own kind of people who would want that quality and who would not mind. If you find like 5 of them, maybe it's not bad. But maybe another thing would be to say, look for those affordable type, and also have those by the side, so that they'll be available for those kind of people that you're surrounded with in this new location. But it was very discouraging for her that all through the year she almost didn't make, almost zero sales, and all that. So basically, to just say that location sometimes can destabilize a woman. I mean, literally, how that your husband moves, you move. So as he moves out of the country, moves to another location, you move. So if you're an entrepreneur, you have to kind of learn to start building your life again, if I can put it that way. So those are the two that comes to mind.
Yeah. Excellent. Wow. This is amazing. This is true. It's the reality of women. Okay. So my next question now is to Pastor Tolu again. Okay, you being a pastor, a pastor's wife, a coach, a mentor, you have a crash, you have written lots of books, You are like a midwife to most of us. I mean, I have a baby now that is barely 6 months, is 5 months. And I was following the group, your group, the positive pregnancy group. Being everything like this, how have you been able to maintain your balance? We've talked about the challenge. Let's talk about the solution now. How have you been able to maintain the balance? Because for some women, they will just go crazy because it's not easy focusing on too many things at the same time. I think you need this dexterity. So how have you been able to do it? Over to you.
All right. All right. Okay. Thank you for that question, sister. But I will not say this because that's what people say, but because it's my reality, I'll say first of all, I'm grateful for the grace of God. That's the truth. I'm grateful for the grace of God. And that what His grace does is that His grace makes, and I'm telling you, His grace made me. Yeah, because even I look at my itinerary sometimes and I'm thinking, are you joking?
Exactly.
I realize that the day passes by and I didn't faint. And I'm here to the glory of God, by the grace of God. God has just been faithful. That's one. Yeah. So that does not sound mystical to somebody. Basically, I didn't start like this. When I started having my children, I did not, it was a decision that my husband and I made. I did simple businesses that afforded me the opportunity of taking care of our children. I was a stay-home mom for a few years. And I believe that something was cooking up while I was a stay-home mom. My head was always jamming with ideas and things that I feel like I should be able to do. I trusted the Lord to do. Of course, I won't lie to you because I think naturally I could be a restless person. As a single lady, I was up and about. I was in school, in the university, but yet I was already taking up roles, running businesses of my own and doing stuff. So I got married and I had to settle down to take care of my children. I mean, it was an agreement that my husband and I reached. He didn't force me to do it. We reached that agreement, take care of these kids to a certain level, and you can take your flight. And I'm grateful to God for that. Honestly, it pays off. It paid off. I mean, I'm not going to say that everybody should do that. I mean, we all have our different ways of doing things and it works for us. But basically, this was me at that season of my life. So for me, it felt like when it was time to take off, honestly, there was a lot of energy to take off. Because it was one thing and then another that just kept cascading like that. So first of all, starting with the positive pregnancy. And positive pregnancy did not just start like that. It started with the Joyful Mothers Fellowship in our church. We had the fellowship for pregnant women. And from there, it rose to the positive pregnancy where I felt like, okay, beyond the four walls of Global Harvest Church, I felt like we needed to reach the world. I felt like it was beyond an assignment to a passion, to a burden, to a ministry for me. So I took it on from there and we started. And from the positive pregnancy, also escalated to the Positive Care Support Foundation, the NGO. I felt like, no, this is not just for Christians. I know that the issue right now is that Nigeria ranks, like the 11th highest maternal mortality in the world. Okay, wow. So if my country was part of the nations with the highest maternal and infant mortality rates, then there's a problem. So I got into it and I'm thinking, what's the problem? So we started getting into it, but that's where the NGO was birthed from. And so we went into that as well. And then before I knew it, I had to write books on pregnancy to just help women to be better informed. And then, so all of these things, I realized that they didn't come at the same time. One thing gave birth to another. And one of the things that I saw the Lord do in my life was that as I gave birth to one thing, God would give me the right people, the right support system, amazing gifts of people, I tell you. They just seem to just gravitate towards me at that point. So they're like my burden bearers. So as I'm giving birth to this baby, they are carrying the baby for me. So I have my own midwives, just like I'm a midwife to people. I also have my own midwives. So
Wow.
I give them this positive pregnancy. I'm giving birth to Positive Care Support Foundation. I give them this baby too. I'm giving birth to the books. I'm handing it over to somebody. We
Wow.
start the preschool, the creche, the preschool. Nursery is going to start by the grace of God this September. Hallelujah. And
Amen.
God gave me amazing gifts of women, of people, I beg your pardon, headed, by a precious woman to me. The lady was my PA for so many years. And when I realized that this was her gift, her dream, she wanted to, be in charge of the school. She had a dream. So I let her go there. Okay, so I don't even have to bother my head about what is going on there. Just check in once in a while, what's going on there, give my advice, give my support, whatever it is. So I'm able to move on. The skill acquisition center, the same thing, gave birth to it, found somebody who could run with it. Oh yeah. So what I'm just able to do is to like oversee what everybody is doing and ensuring that each person is doing their work and that we're productive and that nothing is actually missing, nothing is broken. And to the glory of God, God has just been faithful. And on the family end, I don't joke with my family. As much as my husband gives me the support, I'd never take him for granted. He would never say no to me, but I don't take it for granted to take his permission to do things. You say, no, can I do this? And then, of course, I know that it will always be a yes. But I just always do that. And the only question they would often ask me when my children were younger, they're older now, to the glory of God, is who's going to take care of the children? Because we both agreed yet again, we didn't want nannies, we didn't want house helps, so we didn't have. So, but I had the right support system. My mom, when she was still very agile, she's very aged now. Sometimes I would drop them off with her. She would take care of them for me. Sometimes I had lovely people from church that I could trust who would come help me take care of them, and they were just always in safe hands. And so many other times, my husband would say, you know what, I'm not busy today. I'll just work from home, or they'll be fine with me, or you can bring them to the office, like that. Just that support system. So, but just always putting that thing in place to say, and then checking back home from time to time with true phone calls, even now that my children are older, to say, have you done your homework? Whatever work I'm doing is on this side of my brain. See, my children and my husband, they are on this side of the brain. As I'm thinking about you, I'm thinking about my children on this side. And I say, have you done your homework? Have you? And I know how many they are supposed to do. Is it 4 or 5? And they are usually shocked. They're like, Mommy, you even know. I say, yes, I've checked it. I've checked everything. I know what, like that. So just putting that right system in place, the Lord makes the grace available. And then finally, I think I'll also say this. I never compare myself with anyone. I never do. Because I'm unique in the way God has created me. What I've said now about the things that I do, there may be other people who do more or do less, and looks like they're not handling it well, or that they're handling it better. We all know how things work for us, and I feel like no woman should be guilty or feel guilty. So she said mom guilt is the feeling that I'm not taking good care of my children enough. They are not eating together. So we're not going to put ourselves under those kind of emotional pressure and strain, because what happens in my home is different from what happens in yours. So it's just good to just come into that space where you're not putting yourself under unnecessary. I don't look at somebody else and how they're doing their things. I can learn from them. For instance, this system thing, I learned from Pastor Ibuton Awishika. I will never forget that. She said while she's everywhere jumping around, her mother-in-law stayed to take care of her children for her. Her mother-in-law was with her for 20 years, 20 good years, helping her to take care of her 3 boys when she was going everywhere. Yes. So she always had her mother-in-law while she had a nanny and a house help. She had all of those people, but a constant in her life was her mother-in-law. I know not all of us will have our mothers-in-law like that, but honestly, for me, it just meant that putting that, if you have dreams, if you have things that you need to pursue, you certainly need to put that system in place. So I learned it from her.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very, very much. This is awesome. This is awesome and very, very profound. Now over to you, Mrs. Akinoton. What how have you been? The same question to you. Being a coach, a mentor, you write books, you do a lot of things. You are a mother, you are a wife, you are a sister, you are a friend to me as well. So how have you been able to maintain a balance, in this kind of situation? You are an entrepreneur, and like Pastor Tolu also said, she said she does this and she give it over to somebody else. That is empowering women too. You as an entrepreneur, you give to people, and then you also empower other people. How have you been able to maintain your balance?
Yes, I'm not sure if I have anything to add after listening to Mrs. Aladesomi, but one thing that kept ringing in my head is know yourself. Uh,
Wow.
One thing about me is that I know myself and I know my ability, and I also know that as we grow, not just as individuals, but as heritage of Christ, God has the ability of increasing and expanding our capability. So
Mm,
you need to understand the season that you are in your life. A lot of
exactly.
people have access to support system outside of their husbands. I didn't have that luxury. I moved out of Nigeria. We moved out of Nigeria and we started having kids. So it was just me and my husband doing everything. And then I'll tell you that within the first 2 years of our marriage, I was a student, so I was enrolled in school. I was also selling stuff and I was also working. I was working professionally as an environmental scientist, and having to juggle those things was really hard. And the mentorship thing that I started in 2015 has been something that I conceived way back when I was in high school. So, but me
Wow.
recognizing that season that it's not something that I could take on at that time. So, knowing when to start certain things. I also used to be an event planner, and I would be the first to arrive at the venue, the last to leave. And at some point, I had to sit down and just be honest with myself like, no, this is not going to work. This is taking a lot of time. I need to be there for my children. I need to be there for my husband. So, temporarily altering that and shifting my focus from that to, filling that vacuum in the home, it really helps. So I think that balancing, well, let's even scrap the word balancing. I don't think there's really any balance. What we
Mm,
focus on is to recognize the season that we are, and then try to fit in what you know you can conveniently handle without
exactly.
feeling without being pressured into something that you can't handle or something that is going to get out of.
Overburdened.
And if you have support systems, some of us have our moms, some of us have our mother-in-laws that can help. It's all about communication and tapping into
Mm,
the support system that God has given you. But in a way, I like that I didn't have support system other than my husband, because it kind of helped us to build a solid relationship with each other.
exactly.
When you know that there is nobody to lean on than each other, it helped us in our marriage. So looking back, I used to complain that, oh, how I wish my mom was here, or how I wish my mother-in-law. But now looking back, I'm really thankful for the opportunity that God gave us to be able to build a solid relationship with each other. So my own thing about balancing is know what works for you. Don't work under pressure. Don't say because XYZ is doing this, then you have to do it as well. So just like Pastor Tolu said, don't be under any form of pressure or comparing
Mm,
yourself to another woman. Just analyze your particular situation. Talk to your spouse if you have one. If you don't have a spouse, just highlight your limitations. Maybe you are single and you don't have a car and you need to do so many things. Try to figure out what you can conveniently handle and take it one at a time. As time goes on, you would build capacity. You would have, it's like a balloon. You have more space and you would have more experience. The things that used to trouble you before will not trouble you anymore because you are matured, you've grown, so you can take on more responsibilities. Now, I see a comment, and I don't know if you would like us to answer that question.
Please go ahead.
From Madam Anna Olariwaju.
Exactly.
He's saying that what if our business is already established in a particular location and marriage seems to be taken to another location? I would definitely say, just like Pastor Tolu said, location can be a real challenge. But the good thing and the good news is that we now have the internet. So it's strategy that you are adopting. If you are selling something in a particular location that people have known you, maybe, just maybe, before you move, maybe there's someone around that particular location that you can talk to, you can have an agreement with. Instead of you taking 100% profit, maybe you want to reduce your profit to 70% and sharing that 30% with another person that you trust. Okay, fine. Maybe you don't even have anyone you trust. Maybe this is a business that you still want to run by yourself. Why not, if it's a physical item you're selling, like clothing for children or for adults, whatever, why not find a warehouse in that particular location, employ someone that can help you with dispatch, because I think that dispatch is something that, you know, a lot of people need. Then establish an online store. There is Instagram, there is Facebook that you can sell. You can build your own website. When people place order from your website, you call your warehouse manager or whoever you have put in charge of your business at that particular location that you've been known. Then, you know, you can dispatch from there. There are a lot of possibilities out there. I'll tell you, I have amazing women that are selling stuff from the comfort of their homes. And I have a particular woman, she lives in the north, and she will sell things to people in her doctor. She has distribution centers. So entrepreneurship, being innovative, you have to come up with innovative ideas. And these distribution centers, she got them for free, mostly because she had already built relationships with other entrepreneurs as well. So they'll just say, you know what, don't worry, send so number of items, I'll keep it for you in my house. When people place an order and they are very close to where I live, just call me, you know, things like that. So it's about networking. How many people are you networking with? A lot of us, we like to stay by ourselves. A problem that you are not will not be solved. So you need to network with other women as well, talk about these challenges, and people will come up and give you practical solutions that you can use. And of course, there's also a place of patience. A lot of us, sometimes we are not patient. We tend to compare, even though we say we are not comparing, but maybe you know someone that you started at the same time, you are looking at the pace at which that person is going, and it's also affecting you. You are putting yourself under undue pressure, and you are losing sight of the goal. You are losing sight of where it is that you have set for yourself at the initial stage. So there's a lot of possibilities out there. Honestly, I acknowledge the limitation of location, but I would definitely say that it's not a barrier. And even if, let's say, you have explored all options, you don't know what to do, there is a place for pivoting. You can pivot. God has given you tremendous skills and talents that you can explore. Entrepreneurship is about creation. Creation is about providing a need for a particular problem. So wherever you find yourself, it's about looking around. Look around that environment. What are people complaining of? There's always one thing that people are, oh, how I wish we have someone that sells African groceries 5 miles from where I live. You know, just listen, be attentive. When people, during conversations, be attentive. God will plant that seed in you. So location is never a barrier to moving forward. Yes, it can be a setback, which is a normal part of life, but it should never be something that will stop you in your tracks for 3, 4, 5 years. So God will help us all in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Wow. Thank you so much for that response. And I would just like to chip in something using myself as an example. You know, here in Cape Verde Islands, we run a school, English Development Center. And of course, I work also as an English professor at the university. And when COVID-19 set in, it was a serious problem. And I started wondering that, I told God, I said, I don't want my school to close up like every other schools are closing up and stuff like that. And I just thought to myself, I said, okay. And then my husband said, go online, start teaching online, start teaching people. And do you know that the breakthrough of the school started when others were closing up their schools? And when it just, we prayed together. I remember us praying together in the morning. And then it just got there. I said, why don't you go online, just teach through Zoom or Skype? And I can remember coming up to Sheung to ask Sheung. I asked for an advice then that if what does she think, what platform is better, Zoom or Skype? And I saw her bringing it up and asking people. I could remember then. And then a lot of people were saying Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. Okay. And then I entered for a British Council course online. And they also told me about Zoom. So that was it. I just started through the platform of Zoom. I started teaching, and I had people from not just Cape Verde Island, not just my country, from all over the world. You know, like, there is no barrier. We can always reinvent ourselves. We can always be creative. And of course, sharpen your antenna to know what is going on. She said, be attentive to people. You just learn about people's complaints, and from there, you provide a solution, and that makes you an entrepreneur. So this is an answer to what I see someone else. I think it was just a question. I don't know. It was a comment.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Because my site is good. Let me just say my site is blessed. Okay, the last question before we round up is this. If you had a gift to give to the world today, as a woman, as an entrepreneur, as a preacher, what would it be and why? So I'm going to start with Pastor Tolu Aladesomi. If you had a gift to give to the world today, what would it be and why?
Wow. Okay, so considering my passion. Okay, so I said considering my passion for pregnant women.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll do anything to bring about a reduction in the maternal mortality rates.
Wow.
Because it's amazing how many women die from pregnancy-related causes who have no reason to die.
Wow.
Especially in the sub-Saharan Africa. They die on flimsy reasons. As flimsy as not being able to get to the hospital at the right time, being in labor and not being attended to promptly, being in labor and having an obstructed labor, so the woman dies, the baby dies, not having efficient or effective or skilled health professionals to take deliveries. Can you imagine those reasons?
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
So I'm telling you, or a baby bleeding to death because there's no vitamin K to give. I mean, normally when a baby is born, they should give vitamin K. So, but if you're in a place where all of those things are a problem because of the economy, because of the attitude of the government to what is happening, because for instance, right now, sisters, do you know that resident doctors are on strike in Nigeria?
Wow.
That's the core of the doctors that we have. And right now, there's serious brain drain taking place. We all know it. All the doctors here are taking off and they're traveling to better green or to greener pastures. Because right now, as I speak to you, our consultants, medical consultants, have not been paid by the federal government for 8 months. So I'm thinking to myself, who really wants to stay back in a place where they're not taken care of? Who wants their family to suffer? Who does not want their children to have a better life? You know, so if I'm to give a gift right now, it would be anything to make and to allow the women, the pregnant women, to have and to get the kind of attention that is appropriate for now. Because I'm thinking, what do you gain if you're losing a lot of pregnant women and babies, unborn children, you know, to pregnancy-related causes of death? So if you're losing pregnant women, you're losing babies. It's affecting the families. It's affecting marriages. It's affecting the society in every way. It's affecting even the nation Nigeria, because it's not a good place to be. I remember I did a course, some time ago. It was talking about global perspective on maternal course, on maternal delivery, and it was an international course, and it was such a shameful thing to be able to see that my nation was one of such countries. I mean, it really didn't feel good at all, especially because there's something we can do if we took time and if we actually did what was right. Because the thing is, these things are not expensive things. They are not things, they are not, they're not things that are difficult, as it were. It's not just all money. It's just about taking initiative to do the right thing. So basically, it will be anything to give life to pregnant women and to ensure safety of mother, safety of children.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pastor Tolu. And now over to you, Sister Sheon. Please tell me, what gift, if you had a gift to give to the world, what would it be and why?
Yeah, so if I had a gift to the world, what would it be and why? I think I'm already giving that gift, and that would be the gift of mentorship. I believe that properly mentored women, they do great things in life. And I also believe in the concept of paying it forward. We are all sitting under a shade today because someone planted a tree years ago. So if someone was willing to plant a tree for someone they don't know, then I am ready to plant that tree for someone I don't know as well. Women need to be mentored, not just in business, but also in life, in all different aspects of life. And that is why since 2015, I have committed myself to mentoring women entrepreneurs to help them to succeed in business and prosper in life. I am building leaders through the help of God, because I don't believe in just building followers. So I'm building leaders that would in turn build other leaders. And can you imagine that ripple effect 20, 30, 50, 100 years down the line? So the gift of knowledge, the gift of mentorship, that is the gift that I'll give the world. And I know that when a woman is properly trained, then our world will become a better place. And I also wanted to thank you for this opportunity. I don't know if we'll have time to do that anymore, but thank you for this opportunity. It has been an amazing time. Pastor Tolu, it's very nice meeting you as well. And I wish you success in all you do. And hopefully we'll get to connect sometime soon again.
Very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been an awesome time, I must say, and we've learned a lot today. I personally have learned a lot from you, Shewaki Loton, and from Tolulope Aladesomi. And so that brings us to the end of the English session of Women Entrepreneurs in Europe and Africa. Thank you very much, our viewers watching from Facebook, from YouTube, and for my speakers for today, Sheon and Tolulope. It's been an awesome time. And it's so awesome to bring you here on this program. Thank you very much. And I hope that whenever we call on you again, you're always there to respond. Thank you very much. And have
Thank
a
you
wonderful
for having us.
Thank you so much, sisters. It was really nice being here. God bless you. And thank you to everyone for watching.
Thank you, everyone. It's been a wonderful time. Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.